Welcome back, everybody, to Tips and Trades, brought to you by Centimetre Perfect. That is Jesse. I am Liam, and we are here to talk about our tips for round 9 coming up, a little bit of fantasy, check all our points in our competition, see how they are going, and see where we're all standing. Jesse, how did you feel about round 8? How do you feel about coming into round 9? What's going on?
I'm feeling good. I feel like April is now behind us. The time for pretenders is over. And the time to get on with the job and start asserting some dominance in both competitions over you, rather than just the one, is very much upon us. I very much looking forward, Liam, to going through the scores this week.
Oh, I bet you are, Jesse. I bet you are. At @CMPerfect_AFL if you'd like to get involved. Appreciate everyone who put their tips in last week in the comments.
Yes.
But, Jesse, crucially, and I won't interrupt you this week, we need to talk about how we do our tips. We'll do our tips first. We don't tip 1 point, 1 win. We do confidence points here, Jesse. What are they?
Confidence points are our way of spicing up things in our Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast tipping competition. So instead of tipping the standard way, we tip based on confidence points, assigning them across the round. So in a 9-game week like there is this week, we will assign 1 point to our least confident team, 9 points to our most confident team. Fill in the blanks in between. Can't repeat your points. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season will be declared the winner. You do not need the most amount of correct tips, just the most amount of points.
Love it, Jesse. Can't get too much clearer than that. We'll go into the points now because you're so keen to look at them. And here they are. So, hey, hello. Here they are. 34 for me.
That was round 8.
That's all right. 34 for me.
You got beaten by the robot.
I did. I got beaten by the robot. 247 for me. Still holding a 1 point lead over you, Jesse. You got 40. Well done. Taking you to 246. And Vin, 35. Getting a 1-up on me this week. Well done. 216. Still a fair track behind us, as to be expected. And probably not going to get any better with the tips he's put in this week. But that's okay, Jesse. That is okay. But yes, April Premier, I am. I'll take that crown. And we'll move on to the rest of the season and see how I go. Hopefully, I don't fall behind really quickly because it can change on a dime, Jesse. It can change on a dime.
I was 8 down 2 weeks ago, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were doing quite poorly, and I was doing really well, and I felt really confident. But the confidence points have done me mischief, because that's the thing about confidence points. If you put a lot of them on a team that then loses or draws, which is a caveat that might be important, because I put more on Hawks winning than you did. And we give no points for a draw, because that's not how confidence works. You got to be confident. If you're not a winner, you're a loser.
But if you tip a draw, you should get 100 confidence points.
Okay. Do you want to do that? You want to tip a draw?
Sure. Who's Essendon playing this week?
Well, we'll get to that in just a second, Jesse. We'll start off with Thursday Night Footy, which is going to be my very first game of the year, Jesse. It's very exciting for me. Who is it?
Well, hopefully none of these two teams are April premiers going deeper in. Fremantle hosting Hawthorn at Optus Stadium on Thursday night. The Dockers continuing to build up a streak of wins, while Hawthorn are currently protecting a streak of unbeaten games after their draw with the Pies. The loser of the comp gets to go first, as always, as a tradition. So that's going to be Vin.
Yes.
Which I think is going to be...
look, Vin's going to be tipping first regardless of how we do this. But you know what, Jesse? Depending on how this week goes, you, my friend, will be tipping last and I will be tipping second. Let's see how we go. But Vin's up first. He is tipping the Hawks over Fremantle with 5 confidence points. He's, for the first time this season, Vin has gone, you know what, nah, not Freo. Not Freo this time. He's on 5. Hawks have been one of the most consistent early season teams, he says. Freo strong at home, but form line favours Hawks right now, which is hard to argue. Jesse.
I always worry when I'm alongside the robot, because the robot's quite bad. I'm Hawthorn with 2.
Okay.
This is a real acid test for Fremantle. And while, I very much would like us to pass this acid test, I'm just holding back confidence a fraction that they're quite up to it mentally if Hawthorn get up at them. Because Hawthorn were very good against the Dockers last season, I felt. And I also don't know if what Judd McVee's status is at. I do not back Luke Ryan and Carl Warner to deal with Watson and Ginnivan. I have no confidence in that whatsoever.
Slow.
The Dockers should
back in
concussion protocol, so there's up in the air. I think he's out of them by the time the game's on, but it's still a risk. So look, we'll say I'd love to see Walker back in as well. I completely agree with you, but look, I think we need to be wary with Fremantle in this game. they've had a great run. They've looked really good. Hawthorn, though, I think are the best team in the competition, and that just makes me lean their way.
Chucking a vibe tip on. I'm going Freo just with the one. Not too much to lose if they do go down to the Hawks, but only reason I'm tipping him, Jesse, it's my first game this year that I get to see, so I want them to win. Yay, let's go Freo. But I think...
I want them to win too.
What's that?
I want them to win too.
Of course you do. Look, I think this is everything you've just said is spot on, Jesse. Nothing more to add from me. Let's move on to the next game.
Well, Liam, isn't it just the circle of life? Or more like the overlap of life, because we've got overlapping Friday night games once again. This time, Brisbane hosting Carlton at the Gabba. The Lions continue to roar into season 2026 after a bit of a fumbly start, while Carlton, they're really good at their starts. However, finishing off games is far from their strong suit. A bit of a flip reverse of that famous final in 2023 between these two sides.
Vin is up first. He's on Brisbane over Carlton with 7. Brisbane at the Gabba equals major advantage, and Carlton still unreliable week to week. Short, succinct, to the point. Correct. Jesse.
I'm getting really worried because the robot and I are in step here. I'm also Brisbane with 7, and I actually don't have anything else to add. Carlton are bad.
Yeah, I've got Brisbane full shebang. 9 points on Brisbane. Yeah, I think foof for this game. Come on, mate. It's going to be. There's actually three games where I could have given 9 this week, I reckon.
Yeah. This was my 9 adjacent, one of my 9 adjacent games as well.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing to add. You didn't say anything. Brisbane to win. Let's go, Jesse, to the next one.
Deary me. Port Adelaide hosting the Western Bulldogs on the Friday night game. I don't think anyone is going to be watching that isn't a Port Adelaide or Western Bulldogs fan. The decimated Dogs travel to the Adelaide Oval against the Power, who have been patchy to start off things in season 2026. What does the robot say? The robot
may have taken my my push on looking at all the injuries a bit too hard. He's gone Port with 6 points, so quite heavy. Look, the robot hasn't been wrong. Like some of the games he's been very right. We've laughed at them. The Melbourne one from a few weeks back rings true. But Port Adelaide with 6. Bulldogs still dealing with injury issues. Key reason for their fade, and Port are more stable, which I guess is kind of correct. I do like how...
If you look at the form table, they've won 1 game in the last 4, which is more than the Dogs have won.
That's right. Correct. I think I'm starting to see a bit more coherence with Vin as the season goes on, which is very interesting. Look, never out of the battle, Jesse. Could come back. What have you got?
I'm Dogs with 3. I am nervous about the fact that Port are getting good at the moment to just completely lose grab of the English language. The Dogs, decimated by injury. Very worried about no Bont for them. Equally, though, I don't know if I'd back Port defensively yet. And I think we saw the Dogs can be free scoring against sides that, probably should be better defensively like the Dogs were. So Port with 3. Sorry, Dogs with 3. My apologies. Western Bulldogs with 3. Very respectful of Port, though. This is a bit of a coin toss. Equally, it was like there's some very, very hard games this week and some very, very easy ones.
Yeah. I can't argue with that, Jesse, because I've gone Port with 2. We've got some different ones off the bat this week.
We're diverse this week.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of liking what Port have been putting together these last couple of weeks. I think they're starting to string some confidence together in terms of their playing style, the team, the car, his game plan. I think they're starting to string a few things together. I think they're getting the Dogs at a good time, like we've been saying the last few weeks. I think if I didn't put the 1 on Freo, this probably would have been my 1. I think it's a bit of a coin toss. Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one. Just there.
North Melbourne hosting Sydney at Marvel Stadium. The Roos showing some good signs, but struggling to get wins on the board at the moment, while Sydney are having a great time at the top of the ladder, winning 7 of their first 8 and having a percentage the envy of the rest of the competition.
It's pretty big. It's pretty massive at this stage of the competition. This stage of the year, Jesse, that's for sure. Vin has gone Sydney over North with just the 4. North have improved, but Sydney still more complete. 1 line done. Sydney with 4. Jesse, what do you got?
Sydney with 4.
Sydney with 4. That's it. Nothing more to add. Sydney with 6 for me. I think looking at it though, this could be a bit of a gotcha game for this one.
Yeah, it's got booby trap written all over it, doesn't it?
It really does. So 6 might be pretty high, but I think it should still be okay. It should still be okay. That could actually be the death of me more than the other ones, Jesse. Let's move on to the next one.
The Giants hosting the Bombers at NG Stadium. It'll be a desperate Greater Western Sydney who have looked anything but a strong side in season 2026, while the hapless Bombers will be looking for their second win after shocking Melbourne in Gather Round.
Vin has his favourites, and he has his least favourites. His least favourites are Essendon because he's gone the Giants.
Do I have control of the program?
It's just you. It's you are just ChatGPT. That's all it is. He's gone Giants with the full shebang, all 9 points. He's gone on the Giants, which I think might be a bit of a mistake there by Vin, because I reckon, much like the North over Sydney one, this could be a funny one. The Essendon decide to show up. So 9 is pretty strong. Jesse, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm Giants with 6. I do agree with what you're saying. That's probably why it's a bit lower down for me. But I think it's more so the fact that I just have no belief in the Giants as a serious side this year. Like, they should be beating up Essendon.
Yeah.
But I'm also not entirely convinced that they will.
They might. They might. I've gone Giants with 5. I mean, similar thing. I just think this should be one of those games where we should be following suit with Vin and being like, yep, all confidence on the Giants. But yeah, I reckon 5 and 6 respectively might be pretty high for this, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, Jesse. Let's go on to the next game.
Gold Coast hosting St Kilda at TIO Stadium in Darwin. One of the great traditions of the AFL in recent years is the Suns' Darwin extravaganza, and this time it's the Saints. Hope they pack their big boy pants in their suitcase. They're going to need them to take on the Suns, who have now seemingly started to get some momentum going after a very disappointing month of football prior.
Vin has gone Gold Coast over the Saints with 8. He's gone high on the Gold Coast Suns as well. Form is consistently strong now. Saints competitive, but struggled to match scoring power. Jesse.
I'm Suns with 5. I do think the Saints travel well and could be a threat to the Suns here. However, equally, the Suns seem to have an absolute mortgage over Darwin. I liked the way they ground out the win and just held the Giants at bay. I get the sense they'll look to do similar here, and we just haven't really seen a breakout performance from the Saints yet.
Yeah. I've gone where's my tips gone? There they are. Suns with 3 for this one. They don't lose in Darwin. So really should be all 9. But I don't think they've ever lost up there, have they, Jesse?
I don't think so.
No, there you go. What's more to say? They may never lose there again. Suns with 3. I keep saying Giants. What's wrong with me? Let's go on to the next one, Jesse.
Geelong versus Collingwood Saturday Night Footy. This is a real sleeper game for game of the round in my eyes. And that's saying that with Freo Hawthorn. The Cats looked good against North, getting the job done after having to dig in, while it was the Pies eking out a tough draw against the Hawks. Both sides looking to cement their spot in the top 6 or so as we progress towards the buys.
Vin is not so confident on this one. He's got Geelong over Collingwood with just the 3 points. They've said both are pretty inconsistent and tough to trust. Okay. Just a slight lean on the Cats. Jesse, what are your thoughts?
Who hurt Vin? I'm Geelong with 1. This is the coin toss game for me of the round. This is one that I really can see Collingwood getting the job done. I'm trying to be ultra conservative with the Cats here and just go with the 1 point.
Yeah, I've got the Cats with 4. And these are the kind of games in confidence that can actually get you, because that's 3 points.
That's me functionally tipping Collingwood then.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
The way the spread goes, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's actually, you got to focus more on your losses. That's why you got to be confident they're going to win. Because if they lose, you're up the creek without a paddle. You're in trouble. Geelong with 4, I think they'll be too good for the Magpies still. But the MCG might have gone a bit high there. But that's okay. Let's go to the next game, Jesse.
Melbourne hosting West Coast at Marvel Stadium on Sunday morning. The D's will be feeling buoyant after their brave performance against the Swans, while West Coast will be feeling anything but after losing to the hapless, toothless Tigers at Optus Stadium last week.
Vin's up first. He's gone Melbourne, but he's only gone Melbourne with the 2 points over the Eagles, which is a very interesting tip.
No courage from Vin.
No courage in the D's. He doesn't like what they're doing this year, apparently, and he's still got a little bit of a fire in his heart for the West Coast Eagles. Melbourne better, but not trustworthy enough for high confidence. Okay.
You know what? They did lose to Essendon, so
that's true.
Not totally wrong.
That's true. What have you got, Jesse?
Melbourne with 8. Look, if they hadn't lost to Essendon, this would probably be my 9-point game, to be entirely honest with you, but they did lose to Essendon, and that has traumatized me, hence 8.
Yeah, I've got Melbourne with 8 as well. I think, look, they're playing the Eagles. If they don't win this, I think most of the country are going to be very, very confused. They've been putting some good footy in lately, Melbourne. For them to throw it all away in this loss would be very, very silly indeed. Last game to go over, Jesse, is this one.
closing it off across town with Richmond hosting the Crows at the MCG. The Tigers notching up their first win of season 2026 against the Eagles last week, while Adelaide, with a spluttering start to the year, have won 3 of their last 4 and are gradually trending in the direction they'll want to be come September time.
Jesse, are you aware of which tip Vin has not got yet? What number? Have you been keeping track? Have you been keeping score at home?
Oh, it'd be a middle one, wouldn't it? I don't think it's like a 5.
Adelaide with 1. He's only got his 1. Yeah, I know, right? Adelaide, and he said Adelaide the better side, but Richmond at the MCG can be tricky.
He really hammers that point. He's obsessed with Richmond the G.
He's obsessed with Richmond the G every single week. It's just like, oh, do you know what? Richmond the G could be a really tricky task. Again, it's one of those games if Adelaide lose. Oh boy, that'd be a problem. Jesse, what do you got?
Yeah, Adelaide with 9. I'm not saying it.
Yeah, fair. I've got Adelaide with 7 just because that's how the points worked out, but that could have been one of my 9s as well. I think, yeah, if the Tigers can do something really funny here, good for them. But I just don't think it's going to be that straightforward. I don't think, Jesse, but that's our tips. They're in the bag. They are locked in and ready for this week. We cannot change them. Once they are in, they are in. Once this video goes out, we can't be like, actually, no. Locked in. We've got some fantasy to talk about, Jesse. I've now put this at the back end of every episode because what's to talk about? Do we have to talk about fantasy, Jesse?
Yeah, because I'm flogging you every week, so of course.
No, you're not. Yeah. Yes, you are. All right, we'll go into our fantasy scores now. Here we go. I got 1877, taking me to 1407, 14077 across the season. God, I did that last week with my score as well. You got 1978, 101 point victory. There we go, 101 points. I am the Eagles to your Saints, my friend. 14,710 for you. That gap keeps getting wider. I believe we're coming into a punishment round as well. Oh, dear.
It's the last time you won, so that means you're guaranteed to win this week.
Guaranteed to win. No, you won the first one. What are you talking about? You'll be fine.
I reckon I've only lost to you, twice this year?
Twice. I think maybe even just that once, Jesse, to be honest with you.
It's been smooth sailing off on the fantasy. And yet I'm only 4-4 in the competition. So, you know.
4-4 in the competition is not too bad, Jesse, but let's look at our head-to-heads for this week. I went down to Shinners, who are also 4-4, and you got up on the Slice of Pie, who are not having a great year this year. They have not yet registered a win.
Petrarca saved my little bacon. He's a little fantasy piglet, Treasure Petrarca. He will kick 10 meters instead of handballing just to get the extra fantasy point. That man definitely has captained himself in his fantasy team. Mm-hmm. And he just refused to do handball. Never heard of it. Cozzy Pickett's the same. Those two are allergic to hand passing. I don't know what Simon Goodwin used to do at training drills with those two, but maybe he made them run around like amputees with their arms behind their backs because they do not hand pass the football. They kick that ball every time, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I was in a bit of strife. I got to Saturday and I was about 700 points behind old Shinners, and I realised that most of my players weren't even touched yet. Shinners went very hard early on in the round, and then I kind of came up in the tail end. Not enough though to get me any sort of points. I didn't have a good week. My team did not have a good week in the fantasy, but that is okay. Jesse, here is the ladder part 1. We got a new top runner, Dons FC. Is doing it for his club, taking over the mantle of top of the pops, which is, Essendon fan. That's good. They need something to cheer about this year. Well done. Matt Hatter dropping down to second, Harry Cheezels and previous Leon rounding out the top 4, and the bottom end of the ladder is where you'll still find both of us. Although you are moving up just a smidge, Jesse. You're currently sitting in 13th spot. I am still down in the doldrums with my 2 wins, currently in 18th spot. Can I turn it around, Jesse? If anyone would like to give me some tips, please put them in the comments below, because Lord knows I need them. I have no idea what.
Have you thought about your trades this week?
I've not.
Okay.
I'm not. But I'm at the point now, Jesse, where I'm just thinking I'm just going to blow it up and do some weird stuff just to see if anything happens. Will I? Oh, no, I can't do that, because then if I lose by 400 points, then it's another penalty, and I can't do that.
I just make it worse, and I will inflict punishment on you.
I know you will. God, I have to win next week. I have to win, because no matter what, even though I am obviously in the position that I am, that being not in a good one, you will do something diabolical. And so I just need to ensure that I win. There's nothing more to say about that. Let's look at the top 20 from last week, Jesse, because there were some interesting names. And obviously Sam Berry, 156. Not as many big scores as there were last week. Last week was a bit of a phenomenon for that. But Sam Berry with his 19 tackles and however many touches would be a handy pickup if you had him.
Yeah, well done if you did. Great result for you. That's a massive game from Barry from a fantasy point of view. Noble,
Huge.
huge as well, 144. I mean, you take
Mhm.
that every day of the week. So big results across the board. There's Petrarca with his 117 on the bottom right. I had Houston as well with 118. Dacos with 124, who I captained, and Jackson with 129. So not as prolific as I was on the board last week, which probably explains my points total being under 2,000, but still some good results for me in there. Looking ahead, obviously, when we recorded last week, I didn't have Sam Lawler going down with an Achilles, which did scupper a couple of my plans. And I think also in part was a reason why my score was a bit lower this week. But the plan this week is to drop Caleb Daniel for Lockie Whitfield and drop Oscar Baker for Mason Cox. That's my plan. I'm struggling with my lower end in the forward line at the moment. And I have about 200k spare. So I could look to bring in someone like Yo at the expense of Baker and just keep Daniel. But I'm also looking at the Giants having Essendon and I think West Coast in the next fortnight. I reckon Lockie Whitfield could be really feasting on those teams. He loves to kick in, loves a quick 1-2 play. So keen to bring in Whitfield. I'll bring in Cox as a one-off. That'll still keep me with about 70k spare in salary, and then I can look to do. I might have to split one of my good midfielders next week. Just to fix that forward line. I'm looking at Sam Cumming as well as a cheap option in that midfield. So trading out someone like Jagger Smith, who's made 300k salary, would help me then fix my forward line at the same time.
Very good, Jesse. No, Bolter and Peter Wright in there in the tops. That's probably not going to see that very often this season.
Even Waterman too. Big day for big boys.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are going to rush out and grab these players on the back of these performances, Jesse? I'm sure a couple will. As one thing I've learned from my basketball fantasy is just because someone has a good game doesn't mean you rush out and grab them straight away. This is how it works. Thank you. That's all I have to offer for the fantasy side of things because, you don't get these points. Once you don't get these points, once the game's done, the game's done. So that's my sage advice and the only fantasy advice I can give you. But again, if you've got anything to give me, just put it in the comments down below because I don't want to be accused of stealing Jesse's ideas like I always am, even though I'm still losing, which means I'm clearly not.
Well, they say bad thieves get caught, Liam.
That's true. That is very true. All right, Jesse, that'll do us for tips and trades for this week. Please send everyone home.
Thank you, everyone. Like, share, subscribe, comment your thoughts on our tips, on our trades, what you're doing this week, what you're tipping this week. But most importantly, enjoy your footy weekend. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast.
Bye, everybody.